Okay, so this is that tells me which function to use. So I used k. So I did that one on purpose. Some of you, I think, just automatically went to the next one. Okay, about half of you did. So that's on an honest mistake. And then, but you want to make sure that you use the name of the function. Okay, so this one was 6 plus 3, so square root 9. So the answer was 3. Okay. And then on h, I use this one. Remember, you make all the x's the input value there. And this one ended up being 1 over negative 2, or negative 1/2. Okay? All right, what questions do you have before we go to the next thing? Yeah? Can you talk louder? I can't hear you through your mask.
I thought I was confused, and then I looked at it again, and I don't.
That's my favorite question I've answered all day. Perfect. Okay. Any questions? Okay. What's different about E than on all the ones we've done so far?
It has an X.
It still has an X in it, right? Okay, but you want to treat it the same way. So I'm going to pick G. Okay, so G of X is X squared plus 2. Okay? But this time, I'm plugging that whole thing in. So G of 5x, and always put it in parentheses when you plug it in. Okay? So anything inside that input value still is going to replace the x. So it's like I hole punched out the x and I put in 5x. Does that make sense? Okay, now the reason it's important to put it in parentheses is because I want to remember that when I square this, okay, the 5 has to be squared also. Here's the key. If my input has an x in it, then my answer is going to have an x in it still. But if my input is a number, then my answer is a number. Okay, I'm going to say that again. If my input has an x in it still, then my answer has an x in it still. But if the input is just a number, then my answer is just going to be a number. You guys with me? Okay, yeah.
Why do we keep the exponent?
Because, that's a good question. So for G of X equals x squared plus 2. Okay, so the idea is that I only replace the x, right? Just like on this one, when I put the 4 in, the 4 replaced the x, right? I kept everything else exactly the same.
I know, but at the bottom?
Oh, because when I square this stuff here, I can do 5 times 5, but the x squared, because I don't know what x is, it has to stay there. Does that help? Okay.
Is that your answer?
Uh-huh. Because I did all my PEMDAS, right? I combined like terms, it's in standard form. And now I have this simplified quadratic binomial. That's a good question. Okay. So now let's go and we find f. So so regular f of x was 7x minus 3. So what I want to do is I want to take just where the x is for f of x plus 1. So notice I took the x out and I replaced it with x plus 1. Does the highlighter help? Little, maybe? Maybe not? You're like, whatever. So then the 7 now, this one's in front, so then I'd have to distribute it to both. So 7x plus 7 minus 3. So 7x plus 4 is my answer. Remember, if there's an X in my input, then there's an X in my answer. Questions? Okay, let's try a few more. Why don't you guys try, just real quick, you don't have to do all three. Why don't you try just G and, don't do H. Just try G and I. Okay? Try G and I for me. And then we'll move on from there.